check out my new tag team, baby, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
It's Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and Pharaoh. The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte and Pharaoh, bro.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Monte and the Pharaoh.
The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. It's Monte and the Pharaoh.
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 Monte and Pharaoh. It's Monte and the Pharaoh.
And Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monte and the Pharaoh?
Monte and Pharaoh.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
To the Monte and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monte and the Pharaoh, baby.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and the Pharaoh. Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a run.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut the fucking music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monte and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we're gonna rock it.
Straight to the top. We're living this life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for it. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to live a better way.
All right, welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, seen out of Indie Music TV here in Ronkonkoma, New York. And our producer is Matt. Matt, how you doing? Good as always. How you doing? All right, brother. And to the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, sir?
Good evening, partner. Back again for another round.
How was your weekend?
Good, from what I remember.
What'd you do?
I don't remember.
Yo, you were drunk texting me.
Did I
on
do
Friday.
that again?
Again.
What did I say?
I don't know. You were just ranting.
You don't remember? Were you drunk?
I was drinking,
Maybe.
but your grammar is really good when you're drunk.
Yeah,
like
well.
usually there's a lot of misspelling, not from
There
you,
we-
just in
What?
general.
Oh, okay. Thank
But
you.
you're pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you drink on a Friday night? What's the
Anything I can
usual
get my hands
cocktail?
on. Whiskey. Whiskey. It's always whiskey, dude. You know that.
Monte the Pharaoh would like to thank the band who sings our theme song, Aqua Cherry. Our theme song, Straight to the Top. You could also catch their other songs such as Yes, Yes, Forever, and Seasons. Aqua Cherry's music can be found on Spotify, iTunes, Reverb Nation, or where music is sold. And the other band who does our outro music is none other than Jimmy Pharaoh's own band with his partner Bart Griggs, Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, which is our outro song.
Correct.
This Life,
Mm-hmm.
a favorite of mine.
Thank you.
Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You could catch Wisteria Hall on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation, or where music is sold. Monte the Pharaoh can be seen on YouTube, Facebook Live on the Monte the Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, RTF Sports Network from... Are you twitching?
No. Come on.
On Friday from 6 to 7 p.m., the staple of that network. Channel 115 every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. And for the early risers, Saturday at 6 a.m. to 6:30. Look, I changed the time. I got it right this time.
Look at you. You're sharp.
Jimmy and I would like to take a moment to show respect for the people who have lost their lives and the people on the front lines during this time. All right, Monte the Pharaoh, we have a special guest, our personal friend, and the WWE's own, Johnny Photo. But before we get to Johnny and ask him a billion of questions that cost him his job by the time this show is over,
Yeah, great.
we're going to take a commercial break.
Where's he going?
Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. And let's welcome our special guest, the WWE's own Johnny Photo. Johnny, how are you, buddy?
Oh, man, doing great, doing great. I'm going to try not to laugh through this entire time because I got so many things in my brain right now that are making me laugh.
What are you thinking about right now, Johnny?
Our childhood in Elwood.
Oh, no.
Well, we all grew up on the same road.
That's what people that don't know. The three of us grew up. We went to the same high school.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, did you go to Harley Avenue or Cuba?
Yeah, Harley,
okay. So we went to, look, you know I don't remember shit, so don't even start.
Brutal, man.
Don't even start with me.
The worst.
And you were in Jersey.
Yeah.
We were at Harley Avenue.
I missed Harley Avenue. I got dropped in during Elwood Junior High.
And then Elwood Junior High.
Yeah. He was in the house, the big house with the circular driveway.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. That's right. He was right down. You guys were like literally 2 feet from each other, I think, right?
Yeah, half a block, and you were on the other end. I was
That's
closer
right.
to Elwood Road, and you were right on Larkfield, and Wally was
There
in the middle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
John Glenn, little question for you.
Oh, no.
The heat coming out from John Glenn and some of the things that he said about women. What are your thoughts? A lot of the old alum kind of want the name taken from the high school. What are you thinking, bud?
What? I saw that. I saw that on the John Glenn page. And I was that one girl's an astronaut, so certainly wasn't going to argue with someone that's way smarter than me.
Look at you.
I don't completely disagree with their view. Me, personally, the fact that the guy never came to the school, his name should have been taken off.
Ooh.
He was invited. He was invited on, I think they said 1 or 2 occasions, because there's only 2 John Glenn schools in all of the United States.
Okay.
Ours is one of them. He never. They asked him to come visit. He never came.
Where's the other?
School. He refused.
Where's the other? Do you know? Offhand?
These
are things I want to know for some stupid reason.
Well,
That's
we'll have to
interesting.
look it up.
So what are they going to do? Rename the school Ken Morrow High School or something? Ken Morrow? Who's Ken Morrow? He came to the school, the Islander defenseman from the Dynasty. Oh my God!
Anyway, well, I mean, I think it's Glenn now, right? Like Elwood/Glenn.
Is that what it is?
The John off it.
Did they take the John off?
2 years ago. Oh. I think so, but
okay.
Look,
Maybe just good.
People, you could look back to George Washington and Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. You hate to say those were the times, but like that's how, unfortunately, I guess that's how women were looked at back in the 50s and 60s, and until they made their march and got what they rightfully deserved. There's plenty of intelligent, way smarter than the 3 of us, that's for sure, out there. And
Speak for yourself.
Hey, wait a minute, Mike. You can't even remember Chris Ancona, who lived across the street from you.
You don't remember Chris Ancona? I've got.
I
remember Chris Ancona.
We're all out one night, and he goes, "Who's that blonde?" I said, "You're kidding, right?"
What?
He goes, "No." I said, "That's Chris Ancona. She grew up across the street from me." He goes,
That's great.
Because I don't remember anybody. I don't even know what to say.
Well, she didn't play in the Turkey Bowl. That's probably why you don't remember. No, I gotta be honest with you. Like when people come up to me,
playing soccer, I think that's what it is.
When people come up to me like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, "I don't even know who the hell you are."
That's rough.
I have no clue. In fact, I don't even know how they know who I am. Which is scary enough as it is.
I remember everything.
Johnny, let's talk a little wrestling, my friend. So, what's going on in the world? What's a standard day like working in the WWE now compared to what was going on before?
Well, now it's just a lot of running back and forth for me. We set up a studio. We have a list of the guys and girls we need to photograph. New gear, titles change their hair, and taping the matches. So everybody's kind of condensed with our crew. So instead of having one person back in the studio all day, it's kind of running back and forth and trying to get the timing right. It's different for sure. We're used to flying somewhere else every week.
How are the nerves with the whole corona thing? Are they checking your temperature? What are they doing in there?
Doing all that stuff. Everybody's wearing masks all day, and they're taking care of us.
How do you feel about the plexiglass? Do you feel like they're trying to... Is this the future of pro wrestling on television? Or what are we looking at right now with plexiglass?
I don't think so. I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's...
What was your thoughts when you walked in and you saw plexiglass? Were you looking for, like, the nearest check into the boards? Or
I was.
Okay.
Going back to my hockey
days. He's sticking hockey, yeah.
I'm going to check Strowman into the boards when I take a shot at him.
Hopefully he doesn't check me. That's a big man.
What's up, Johnny Photo?
You know what, though, dude? Maybe after this we should talk. We should trademark the plexiglass. What do you think?
What are we
Trademark the plexiglass.
What are we calling it?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. We'll have to think about this.
Plexiglass.
Plexiglass?
So we were talking before the show, almost 20 years at the WWE. Can you tell us how you got hired by the WWE?
Well, I used to, back in the days when I shot hockey, we had the strobe lights up in the catwalks at Nassau Coliseum. The old photographer would call my boss at the time and say, hey, we're coming in. I want to rent the strobe lights. He knew I was a wrestling, but one other guy and me were wrestling fans, and he knew it. So he's like, hey, you want to go to Nassau? Turn on the lights, point them at the ring, give the radio to Tom, and just hang out and make sure nothing happens. Sure. It's an easy night. That was back in the days when they were, I guess, taping all the shows, and they would make the weekend show. This was before Raw, Monday Night Raw. I think even before the Manhattan Center days, when they went live on Monday nights.
Oh, shit, I forgot about the Manhattan Center.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Holy
that was before
cow.
my time.
That's the beginning.
And then as they were getting bigger, then they would call and say, hey, we need another, can we use one of the John to come help us shoot the shows? And I would shoot up in the hard camera section, and that was it.
And you were working for the Rangers at the time?
Well, the company I worked for, we were team photographers for the Islanders, the Rangers, the Devils, and the Flyers. Bruce Bennett Studios, local guy out of Hicksville. And, I mean, I was a dream job growing up a hockey fan. My dad had season tickets for the Islanders. I played hockey in high school. John Glenn, we had the team. And then, you're 22, and you're in the Stanley Cup locker room, and it's like, it's not even work. This is surreal to go. You grow up a fan of something, and then you stand next to Mario Lemieux, and you're taking pictures of him holding the Stanley Cup. Or you're in Montreal, the most fabled franchise in hockey, and you're in the locker room when they win the Stanley Cup. Or, much as it pains me to say, when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup.
I think about that when I see the photo of you with the Rangers in the cup. I'm like, how was he even smiling?
Well, it was Mike Richter. He's a great guy. You got to look past that.
Oh, gee.
The Rangers
It's mighty big of you, pot van.
The Rangers as an organization treated us fantastic.
Yeah.
They always sent the box of stuff, the giveaway stuff, and I would give it to all my Ranger fan friends. And then when they won the cup, it aggravated people because I was on the ice. I was in the locker room. We did the team shot. The next morning, we were in the parade. I sat in a convertible going up the Canyon of Heroes. How do you top that as, that's your job.
Right.
The corner, you turn the corner, and it's just confetti and, a million people, however many they had. And then you're at City Hall, and it was ridiculous.
So what, someone comes up to you, though, and finally says, hey, we're looking for a photographer full-time?
What happened was the old photographer had called one of my coworkers. He had just gotten married. So the last thing he wanted to do was travel. He wanted to keep going.
Keep going. You're okay.
I got ADD.
Sorry, no. We got a little caught up here. A little technical problem.
He goes, hey, Tom just called me. They're looking for another staff photographer. I just got married. I don't want to travel. You want to talk to him? All right, here, give him my number. I wasn't actively pursuing another job. We grew up, Mike, we grew up wrestling fans.
Right.
But it was never a thought to go, I want to work there. Like people watch Hulk Hogan, all of a sudden they want to talk to Devon or any of these guys. They wanted to be a wrestler. I was always a fan, but I never thought that, I want to do that. Or even photograph it. So we had a long conversation, and we were talking about this and that, and put a lot of thought into it, talked to a few different people. I remember seeing you at the gym, and we were talking about it.
Right.
I said, I'm thinking about changing gigs, going to WWF back then.
Which I was totally jealous. Totally, jealous.
Oh, are you for real?
And you're not just coming in on any era in wrestling. You're coming in during the Attitude Era, basically.
It was right at the tail end.
Right at the tail end, but it's still a magical time period in the history of pro wrestling,
for
sure.
We were watching. I was living with a couple of buddies, neighborhood guys, and we would watch Raw. We would switch back and forth to what was happening better, and then.
Were you starstruck your first day when you walked in after accepting the job?
My first show was Raw in Hartford, Connecticut, the night after. I forget the name of the pay-per-view, but it was in Albany, and Kurt won the heavyweight title.
Okay.
And I
Kurt
walked
Angle.
in, and we were backstage. I had met one of the guys who's still working for me now, Rich, he was doing studio.
Mm-hmm.
Then they just gave me a headset so I could listen to camera calls. And then they go, hey, we need you backstage for something. I go, what? They grab a camera, and it was Kurt coming out of limo with Stephanie, and we're all yelling like paparazzi. So my boss, my first day on the job, goes, how'd you get on TV already? You just started. I said, no, I'm just doing what they told. I don't know. Starstruck. You know what? I spent 10 years around professional hockey players.
I guess you already were
like
conditioned.
When you're 22 and you see Wayne Gretzky, then you go, if I was younger
Right.
and saw The Rock, but I still walked in and you got to keep, I knew at that point I was already 33, act professional.
Sure.
I just kept my mouth shut, didn't say boo to anybody, I didn't talk to anybody. If they would introduce me to a lot of the guys, hey, how you doing? Went about the separate way. You get there a little longer, you start to talk to the guys. I discovered Devon went to John Glenn because somebody from the neighborhood goes, hey man, Devon went to John Glenn, and I walked up to him. Turns out he was there when my sister was in school.
Okay.
Graduated in 90 or 91. My sister graduated, so when I said my name, he goes, I know Anne-Marie, and then we just had that connection of John Glenn and Kurt Angle wrestled at Clarion. My cousin's best friends wrestled with him at college.
Right.
So I walked up and said, hey, you know so-and-so? He goes, how do you know them? I said, those are my cousin's best friends. They probably hung out with you to 4 years you were in college. He goes, I remember those guys from Long Island. They were all crazy. Amateur wrestlers from Long Island are crazy. That's what he said to me.
Well, you ran across Devon, right?
Yeah.
You were telling me a story or
Yep,
something like that?
Yep. Yeah, Devon passed through our town. It was almost like a blur, but the next thing I knew, I was watching ECW. I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen that dude.
Yeah, and his thing was like people. He said he wanted to be a wrestler, and everybody put him down.
Right.
Well, you're crazy. Blah blah blah. What are you doing? And when he made it, and I don't know who he spoke. It was before Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Who he may have spoke to from the neighborhood, but then he was like, "Oh, who do you see? Well, tell them this, tell them that." Everybody that said I was never going to make it.
Right.
And they're one of the biggest tag teams in the history of the industry.
Boy, I got off easy when I saw Devon again. I mentioned that we're from the same town, and we crossed paths way back. He was nice about it, so I guess I wasn't one of those people. Tell him, Thankfully.
He's a great guy. Bubba went to Half Hollow Hills. He grew up in Maspeth, and then we started talking. And Devon goes, "Hey, he's from John Glenn," and he made a face. I said, "Where'd you go to school?" He goes, "Half Hollows," and went, "Yeah, okay."
There you go. Now, John, I know you got there. From what you're saying, you got there maybe a year after Owen Hart's tragic passing, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that was before my
Okay.
time.
Over the years, any reverberation in the locker room? I mean, have you ever heard any conversations you might want to share, or any memories yourself of the incident, and then, the after effects in the locker room?
I think I walked past him like backstage once when I was freelancing.
Okay.
But I never had met him.
Right.
Brett, when he came back, he'd chat with him every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
And, Natty Neidhart has been around a long time, and we talk all the time. But everyone that worked on the crew always felt when we went back to Kemper, they had there was something
right
they felt. He was a great guy. Everyone said he was aces of a human being, prankster.
Mm-hmm.
Always had a smile on his face.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen a lot of death in your short time there, right?
Well, I mean, the guys we grew up watching.
So, we're talking Dark Side of the Ring. We both watched that. You seen all the documentaries that they had on there? Were you around that night when Owen Hart tragically passed away?
No, I started a year after that.
Was it a year after that? Okay,
a year or
I
so.
got my
Yeah,
timing.
I started in October 2000.
So, were you there? You were there when Eddie passed away, though, right?
Yes.
What was that like?
That was, I cried. I mean, you get friendly with these guys. You travel with them. We do the international tours. We're on the buses together. We're on the airplanes. We talk. And I had spoken to Vicky after the fact, because when my first son was born, they let me stay home so I wouldn't get stuck somewhere and miss his birth. And I went back out. He was born December 8th, so I went back out after Christmas. I was home probably about 6 or 7 weeks. And he's asked me where I'd been. He's like, I haven't seen you. I said, hey, no, I had a baby. They let me stay home. So I showed him, oh, he's beautiful. I said, his name's Christian. And he's like, oh, good name. You know, he left, came back, became a born-again Christian and was very faithful.
Okay.
To his faith, Vicky would come on a lot of the trips with us. So I got to know her from before she was on TV. And he told me a prayer in Spanish, and he translated, which of course I never remembered. And when Vicky started coming back on TV, I had told her the story, and she said, "I'm gonna look. I'll go look through all his because he would write stuff down." And she could never find it. And I said, he said it in Spanish. He translated it. And when I told him my son's name was Christian, you know, he gave the face. You know, he would raise his eyebrows, you know, do his character way. And I said, I would really love to get that and have it, and you know, just so I could write it down. You wrote it down and give it to me, and she couldn't find. I mean, she couldn't find it, and you know, it is what it is. But I remember him saying that, and we would talk. Chavo, you know, was a great guy, and all those guys. But Eddie was sad because it was just a shocker, you know, to hear what happened. And we were leaving for Europe that night. Like, we were taping shows, and then we were all flying to Europe, and we were Raw, SmackDown. We're going through our tours, so that we started in Italy, and you didn't realize the impact you had until we were in Rome, and the first show, the signs everywhere. The whole arena was filled with signs about Eddie. And then the next night, and then the next night, and the 10 bells, and everybody's tearing up, and it was 12 nights. It was just, you know, it was tough.
I have to ask you, since you were behind the scenes at the time of Eddie's passing, did you notice a change in Chris Benoit? Because you know what's said. It's said that Eddie's death was part of the rapid decline of Chris's mental state. Did you notice any change in Chris?
Nah, I was kind of friendly with him. We would talk and joke around, but me personally, I wasn't around him enough to notice anything.
Okay. Was he quiet and reserved in general, Chris Benoit?
He was a quiet guy. You know, hey, how you doing? How the kids? That was pretty much it.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with the WWE's own Johnny Photo. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Here's probably the most important question of the night, John.
Here we go.
How do you hold yourself together with all the hottest women in the world around you on a regular basis?
How did I know?
How do you hold it together?
Do you hold it?
I'm sorry. You guys do want to get me fired, don't you?
No, don't answer that. That was me.
If I was working for the WWE, you think I could have made 20 years?
What?
No.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Thank you.
20 seconds.
You got to be a professional. You just got to, it's just like with anything else. You know, you take a step back. I mean, look, we used to do the Diva shoots. We'd be down in the Caribbean for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yipe.
Back in the Tory, you know, all those girls.
Ooh.
You just got to... You got to tune out, even like
tune out. You're focusing the camera. How do you tune out?
You got to get the picture, and then that's it. It's just like when guys get busted open, and we take pictures of them getting stitched up.
Yeah.
You just gotta
stay
professional. The camera kind of separates you from.
So that's why God works in mysterious ways, because there's no way, there's no way I would hold it together.
Yeah, he knew that he was equipped to.
You, on the other hand, be like, I don't want to go take pictures of the divas.
I would be like that.
Where's Braun Strowman?
I don't know. What? I would not be like, oh, I'd rather take pictures of Braun. He's mint. What the hell's wrong with you? Can we talk about wrestling, please?
God.
Hey, Johnny, do you think that the women's evolution has killed pro wrestling? I've got my suspicions, but that's me. Any thoughts on women's?
No, I think all these girls are great, and they can work, and they put on good matches. I think.
Well, just put water on my fire, why won't you?
Sorry, I give those girls a lot of credit. You know, there are some nights where they have the match of the night.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that does happen sometimes. So.
You know, that's a really good point you brought up.
Don't get
you're taking
away.
You're taking pictures, right? And then all of a sudden there's a match going on. Do you ever lose concentration because the match is that good, and you all of a sudden you're like kind of all watching that match?
lose concentration, no. But thing in my head, like, some of the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels matches, and you're sitting at the ring, and 80,000 people. They have, these people in the palm of their hands. And if you watch any of the Undertaker's documentary up to this point, that Hell in the Cell with Shawn as the ref, and I go in the cell, I sacrifice myself for the good of my photographers.
Man,
thankfully, I have not been hit by. I've had a few close calls, but thankfully no serious injuries. But when Brock is in there, stuff's flying all over. There's just. But now some of those matches, Undertaker, Shawn, or any of those classes where you just sit there and go. You sit back and go, or Sheamus and Daniel Bryan with 18 seconds, and you sit there and go, what just happened? Like if you blink, you miss it, so you can't. And it happened right in front of me.
Right,
so
right.
You go, okay, that's interesting, and then on to the next match. But some matches I'll watch just to get a look at, and like I've said to some of the guys, they talk about Ricky Steamboat, Macho Man being the greatest match ever But when we're kids watching WrestleMania 3, or we're kids watching, you're not watching from a technical wrestling aspect. To me, it's Hulk slammed Andre.
Right.
That's my memory.
Sure.
Now, as I've been there so long and watch guys and speak with a Dean Malenko, and these guys that are great in-ring technicians, and listen to them and watch guys in the ring, a guy like Fit Finlay, I could look at Ricky Steamboat, Macho Man, and appreciate it now better than I could when we were, 17, we're 18 or 19 years old, as a Hulkamania or the British Bulldogs, or just wanting to see the bad guys lose or laugh at whatever Bobby Heenan says. Because I always liked the ha-ha aspect of it growing up.
Right.
You're not looking at, Bob Backlund's a great technical wrestler. It was just he was the champ, and he had that All-American thing about him, and Iron Sheik you hated him because he was from Iran. Now, I look at it, I can watch guys in the ring and respect what they do. More now watching them.
Because
the girls.
You know how difficult it is what they're actually trying to pull off.
Just watch subtle things, or when they're training guys, or they're in the ring going over stuff, and listen to a Dean Malenko, who was so good at what he does, or even back in the day when he wrestled. Look at a guy like Eddie. I mean, Eddie was just charisma in the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, laugh at the ridiculous stuff he used to do.
Amazing.
On the live events, you got to hold the rope for a tag. He puts it on the rope and goes to the middle of the ring. He's getting yelled at. He's like, "I'm holding the rope," and the ref doesn't know what to do.
On the subject
stuff like that.
On the subject of Guerrero, what do you think about Garza Jr.?
I like him. He's a good kid.
Does he have a little Eddie, or is it just me?
That seems to be the talk about him. He's a nice kid. He's a nice kid, first of all. I've worked with him a bunch of times.
He's got great charisma.
He's a good kid, and he does have that.
He does.
Look about him.
He
got
does.
That, the mannerisms, the facials, and I like that little faction. Zelina Vega is a great mouthpiece.
Yep.
She's
agreed. You love
Queens
Zelina
girl.
Vega.
I love Selena.
She's a New York girl.
You photo her lately? Send them to Mike. This guy.
Send me all your photos. Speaking of photos, right?
I send him videos of the talent, calling him out.
Oh.
Text him all the time. Otis sent them. Otis to stay away from Mandy.
Otis told you to stay away from Mandy.
I'll take on Otis anytime, man.
You probably would.
Anything.
Oy, great.
So you're an artist, John. What, in your own mind, do you think was the greatest picture you've ever taken?
Ooh.
In my time.
That you're so proud of, something you would hang on the wall of your house.
There are two. You've probably seen them on Instagram or Facebook. Undertaker after 21-0 when he's doing the pose with the urn. 21-0 is on the Tron and all the fireworks. The pyro's going off at MetLife. And when Shawn super kicks Rick in the retirement match.
That's your picture?
Yeah, when his foot is in his face.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
I did not know that was your picture.
Those are probably my two favorite. I mean, I got lucky and caught Brock landing on his face when he the shooting star press that didn't go well.
Oh.
But that was the film days, so I didn't know if I got it or not. I know he's doing it, and then
right.
you hear him and then we ship the film back to Stanford, and then I get a call. Oh my God, the shot of Brock. I mean, his head is hitting the mat, and you look at it and go, how did he survive?
Right. Yeah, that was a direct hit.
All right, guys, I want to bring back one of my favorite segments
no.
that the Pharaoh hates.
Please don't.
Basically, what's behind it, it's called the most annoying pro wrestling expert. I'm going to read a statement.
Great.
Behind that pro wrestling expert, I'm going to ask both of you guys to weigh in.
Can't wait.
You going to run the clip, Matt? Tell me when you're done. Am I up?
You're up. You were looking at photos again. You're up. Go on.
All right, hold on. Let me get to the most annoying pro wrestling expert.
God.
Are you
Who
ready?
is it this time?
All right, guys, weigh in. I'm going to read a statement.
Gotcha.
Linda Hogan.
What?
Watching the looting.
What?
It's all Afro-Americans. Not sure how robbing and stealing set the record straight, but if they want to be heard, they need to be civilized. Response, Tony Khan. You've now joined your husband in being banned from all AEW shows. Congratulations.
I saw that.
John, you want to weigh in?
Oh, boy.
Social media is can be a very bad tool in the wrong person's hands.
Yeah.
And then that's...
Are you trying to say Linda Hogan should not be using Twitter?
I would...
Be a good idea.
Just show pictures of her kids and the beach.
That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good.
Pharaoh, thoughts?
It's just an idiotic statement. Very insensitive. What are you doing? You know, come on, and don't pinpoint. All different backgrounds are protesting, so don't go pinpointing like that. You know,
how about the?
You know, this is gonna sound weird because I'm such a Hulk Hogan mark, not Linda. I'm such a Hulk Hogan mark that I'm like, poor Hulk getting dragged back into it. I'm like, damn it, oh damn! Just when I thought he had the mud off of him.
Well, what about Tony Khan's response? John, thoughts on that?
I read that online and I laughed. I thought it was funny. I didn't know Hulk Hogan was banned from AEW.
Right.
I don't.
Is he also banned from Jacksonville Jaguar games? That's what I want to know. You know.
Whenever they go back to having
So basically, the weigh-in is Linda, stay off Twitter.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And poor Hulk got dragged into it all over again.
What you gonna do when your wife's diarrhea mouth runs wild on you, bro?
All right. Well, again, I love the most annoying wrestling expert clip. With that, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll get back to our special star, Johnny Photo.
Couldn't help it.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast. Monte and Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV out of Ronkonkoma, New York. Our special guest, the WWE's own Johnny Photo. Pharaoh, you're up, brother.
I am?
Yeah.
What's next?
I thought we were talking about how Vince has lost it. It says Monty here. Oh, I
No,
skipped something.
see,
Never
see
mind.
that? See where your name there?
Well, you know I'm partially blind. Johnny, how would you fix today's current state of pro wrestling? Do you think it needs fixing? You know, there's a lot of critics on both sides of the coin. Any thoughts on what could be done to improve the product today?
I'm a photographer.
He gave me this question. Just remember that. Way to go, Mike.
I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Okay, how about this one? Do you study your own work? Like after you film a match, do you go back and watch your work and take tips from what you're seeing of your own work to improve? Or
photos? Yeah. We shoot differently now. We used to shoot with the strobe, so you would take one picture.
Okay.
You had to wait 3 seconds for them to recycle. So you try to work on your timing a little better. Now it's kind of put your finger down, and but there are certain things. But it's. I don't look too much. I'll look on the galleries they post, and then I'll go back and look at some of the stuff that I shot, and I'll look a little more at studio shots than I would ring action. Action. I've been doing it. It's just like I got to a point with hockey. I've been doing it so long that I don't know. The only thing else different is maybe put some remotes up, do something differently other than the ringside action is what it is. The international tours are fun because there's no TV. It's just us. And we can do what we want. and we can move around and do different stuff.
Well, let me roll off Pharaoh's question. Do you appreciate wrestling more now as an adult working for a major organization like the WWE, or did you like it better when you were younger and it was more just fun?
Look, I love my job. It's fun. It's different. It's not obviously not normal. Get on a plane and fly somewhere every week, every other week, whatever it is.
Awesome.
Travel around the world. I mean, look, if you would have told a freshman in college at School of Visual Arts, photo major, 18, that at, 52, not yet 53, that I would have been to 45 countries and stood at the base of the pyramids and walked through the Red Square, in the Roman Coliseum, and been to Australia. I can't even count how many times I've been there. Wouldn't have believed it. I honestly would have thought 4 years of college and went and worked for my dad.
Right.
And then things just kind of, some of them happened by accident, and then just, working hard and being responsible and respectful to the people I was around, made it to where I am now. And, it's been a good ride. As far as, it's tough because I'm looking through a camera. The amount of respect I have for the men and women that do this for a living.
It's a hard life. It's a hard life.
I mean, I want to see that 350 days. I mean, those are the guys that we grew up watching. I want to watch it. It was a different world back then. I talked to a lot of the older guys. Mike Rotunda and I have traveled all over on these tours, and we talk. I like to, grill him about different stuff, and hell of a nice guy. And, just like, we were just never home back then. They would go to Europe and go there for 3-4 weeks at a time.
So you're talking about the travel. I'm going to jump a little ahead, Pharaoh. Crazy flying schedule for all you guys. Have you ever been in a situation on a plane where you felt like something was going to happen, like maybe mechanical or like close death?
Yeah,
flight.
We had one.
With the amount of traveling you have, right? Your odds are up there, right?
Look, we've had plenty of not going anywhere because it's snowstorm. We can only get this far because it's snowing in New York. I think one winter, it snowed every Tuesday and Wednesday, 5 or 6 straight weeks. And I have to call home and say, I'm stuck. I'll be home Thursday. And then the neighbors would shovel the driveway.
Right.
So, they could get out of the house. And, the snow's coming in here on a Sunday. Well, I got to leave Saturday. It was a couple of rough turbulence flights. We had one going over. I mean, I think everybody knew about it. It was probably in 2004. Forget the year. I don't know if my son. No, it was before my son was born. And we were going to we were going Seoul, Singapore, and Perth, Australia. And we had to refuel, and you could feel the plane. And people were. I just closed my eyes and said, I had a good life.
Oh shit!
Oh boy.
See, okay. So I've been on some plane rides, and you get some major turbulence or whatever. But I've been on plane rides, but people start screaming, and that throws you into where people. I know you close your eyes and said, "Hey, it's been a good life." Where people screaming on the plane, and you're like, "Shit."
Yeah, we had on that flight. We had some of the people screaming, and it was. You look and somebody's green, and somebody's they're holding the arms.
Oh my God!
And that's why I just closed my eyes. I just went.
Do you remember who you were sitting next to on that flight?
I was sitting next to Johnny Stromboli.
Really?
And the Full-Blooded Italians were on that tour.
Wow.
In fact, one leg of the tour, Brock was sitting next to me. And I was watching movies on my laptop, and Old School popped on, and he takes his headphones, and he goes like this. And I went, I don't have a splitter, dude. We can't watch it together. He just looked at me. He's like, shook his head. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
That's all you got out of him that whole ride, huh?
He's a good guy. I like Brock. I've known him since he first came up, and he always comes up and shakes my hand. He's a good dude.
How is it watching him perform up close? How physical are we talking when you're actually standing feet from him?
Scary.
It's got to be, right? Is he the most physical guy you've seen and passed through in the 20 years?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
He Money in the Bank last year. He just came running down and shoved the ladder on his way in, and I had to arm up if I wasn't paying attention.
Oh.
It You know, I was going to beat his ass after that, but I changed my mind.
Took it easy. You could have told him you're my friend. He probably would have backed off.
He went, who, Magnificent Mike? That's me, sir.
Fuck that guy.
That's your brony.
Fuck that.
Just threaten him. Tell him you got pictures. Don't touch me.
Screw
I got
that
pictures.
fat ball guy.
What? Hey.
Look, WWE is no different than any other company in the United States or in the world, right? We're all going through a very tough time. How tough was it with all the firings or the layoffs that happened in the WWE, and to all the wrestling experts out there that feel that the WWE has kabillions of dollars and they should just be keeping people on the payroll? Not asking you to weigh in on that, Johnny, obviously, but I just wanted to get your feelings, what it's like working. You know, you got a lot of friends that you're not going to be working with.
It's tough. Right? It's just like anywhere else. Anyone else you see, friends of ours that own small businesses that are begging to get back open. It's tough. It's tough. These guys are they're family. When you hear the wrestlers talk about it, we spend as much time or more with the people on the road than our own families. So we see our kids grow up together. We're in a town where the merch guy lives, and he brings the kids, and that kid was this big. Now he's, or my kids come to the show in Nassau. I was like, wasn't he a baby crawling around backstage in Bridgeport? When that show right after Christmas, and now he's 15, and they all, how old are your kids? And oh my God, who's got grandkids? And it's tough. They're all, it's a hard situation for everybody. I text with one of the Singh brothers. Gerv, I think it is, and we text hockey, and they're in Canada. They can't come. The border's closed.
Right.
He's got a newborn. We were in Vancouver in February. We took pictures down by the ring, in front of the WrestleMania sign, and he's like, spend this time with my newborn, and then hopefully when everything opens up, I can come back to work.
Now, do you think the WWE is more of a different than a regular job, meaning that you guys are much closer with each other? You're around each other all the time. It's more of a family type of atmosphere, or is it still corporate America type of deal?
I can't speak for the office because I don't go that often. But I with all the downtime, I started watching The Office, and you sit there and go, I wonder what it'd be like if I worked in an office 9 to 5, and you had the guy in accounting that was your buddy. Like for me, I'm a photographer. I hang out with the backstage lighting guys in the bar after a show. I think with us is you work these wacky hours, like you're home watching it, we're working it, and now it's 11 o'clock at night, and everybody's still doing a few more hours of work, and you watch the news or you go to bed, and now you're with these guys at whatever time and say, hey man, let's have a drink before we fly out in the morning, and then you're at the airport together at 5 o'clock in the morning flying home, and it's all day. Hey, let's have you're in a hotel bar, or let's go have dinner together, and in that sense, it's way different than an office job.
That schedule sounds awesome.
He's got the best schedule in the world.
That schedule sounds awesome.
I mean, it's weird now.
Okay.
But the split with Fox, we split everything up, so it was that's weird too. I mean, that was weird to just work Monday and go, I should be driving to we're in Boston. We should be driving to Albany for SmackDown. I was like, now I'm driving home. One of my coworkers that lives out here, so that was strange too. And I did a bunch of SmackDowns, and then through the weekend, and that was odd too. And then you see, hey, where you been? Because everybody was split. And I haven't seen you in a while. I was like, I'm working Raw. Eric's working SmackDown. That's how we're working it.
How long do you think before we return to any kind of normalcy with a real live crowd?
I don't know. What's
huh?
Professional sports?
In your opinion,
we're in the same boat as everybody.
Forget
else.
about wrestling. Can you think professional sports can handle being out of action for a year?
I think football, they're hell bent on playing, and if they're going to they want to keep it to 15,000 people separated in the stadium. The NFL they're going to try to do it. I mean, you see what they're doing already. I mean, the draft was just set up a bunch of fun, have your phone on, and I'm going to sit in my basement, and the teams are going to text me that pick, or however they did it. And look at all the viewers they had. It was the highest rated draft ever because people are starved.
Well, yeah, right.
I mean, I don't know if NASCAR is pulling in good numbers because it's something to watch. Belmont, they're running at Belmont now, so.
Well, it's clear, right? Wrestling in general shockingly enough, is taking a hit on regular TV right now. I think one, I'm just giving my opinion, is Friday night is a difficult time. You figure people are home and stuff like that, but I think people are more focused on other stuff on Friday night. And I do think wrestling is a more, like John just spoke about football. You can get away with playing football without a major crowd, I think. And I think wrestling, you said it a couple of weeks ago, right? The wrestlers' actions are driven from a crowd, right?
Well, it's a major part of the whole platform is to get a crowd's response, a live response. So it has been strange as a lifelong wrestling fan watching no crowd, and now recently plexiglass and a few wrestlers from NXT, I believe. This is what they're doing with the audience, which I think it's a slight improvement over having no one there. But, I would really like to see us get back to normal. I don't see how that's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, I think they're smart, too. They're doing a lot of these vignettes now, and it's keeping attention. Look, I think,
John, who's your favorite talent to work with over the years? You've been there 20 years. Is there anybody you really look forward to working with when you hear you're going to do a photo shoot with a particular person?
Trying to think. I mean, I did. I wasn't there I was there a couple of years, and we did. Perry Saturn and I went around Santa Monica with Moppy.
Perry Saturn.
With Moppy.
With Moppy.
And
if Moppy is your favorite, I'm really going to be freaked.
That's one of those moments when you say, I can't believe this is what I'm doing.
This is my life.
We laughed the entire time. Anything with Santino.
Okay.
My favorite. In the ring. We did stuff with him outside of the ring. He's just such a character. One of the greatest guys I'll meet. I love working with Ray.
Mysterio. Okay.
They're all good guys and girls. My favorite to work with, it's tough because it's different. We do things differently now. There's no magazine. We're not doing these off-the-wall kind of shoots. Kane was always a guy I always enjoyed. We did a whole big fire thing with him with flames behind him that ended up becoming a magazine cover. It was his 8x10. Then I had him out in the field in Chicago with the snow, and it was lined to me afterwards where, every shoot I do, you're trying to kill me. Why is that? And as he's looking down at me because he's such a large man, but he's a very, a nice guy, very soft-spoken, and they all are. But when you look at him back in the day with the long hair and the mask, and then, hey John, I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's the guy that's, flames everywhere.
Hellfire and brimstone
with the wig. So when last night Drake Maverick loses the finals.
Okay.
Triple H comes out. He's crying in the ring. Triple H comes out, offers him a contract.
Right.
All right, John. Was this a work from the beginning or what?
Dude, I have no idea.
Come on!
I take pictures. I just go there and shoot.
Yeah.
I cover what it is. So you went on the website and saw the pictures. Some of them were probably mine. I just go run and do whatever, man.
Did you feel good for Drake that he was staying with the company?
He's a good kid. He's a hard worker. He's got a lot of passion. He loves what he does.
Wow, are we getting up there? Drake Maverick is a kid?
We're pretty old.
Are we getting up there, John?
With that, we're gonna
have to speak louder.
You know what it's like working with kids that come right out of college that they work in the TV studio, and you start talking about, man, Caddyshack was funny. What's that?
Of course.
I was born 1994. I was already working for 4 years. Get away from me,
dude. I have people that work for me. I'm like, did you ever listen to Leonard Skinner? They're like, no, I never heard of him.
Of him.
Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Pink Floyd. Is he good?
They'll know the Beatles.
Yeah, he's great.
They'll know the Beatles because everybody knows the Beatles.
Right.
And I tell you what, I got a good one because Edge is back.
Yeah.
And I think I had put something on Instagram shocker, no clue he was going to be at the Rumble. And when his music hit, even I went, wait a minute, what the?
Nice.
By the way, probably one of the great moments in wrestling history. The chills.
Did you mark out?
I did, actually.
Nice. He didn't know. He's like, yeah.
When his music hit, I went,
oh.
And then, the Spears, and then talked to him the next day, and I said, dude, we went, he had to retire, and we went to Europe. And that was he wanted to say goodbye to the fans, so it was every night. And we got to Liverpool, I knew that he was talking about the Beatles. I said, let's go do a day. We'll take pictures. We'll go around. We got a car. We went to the museum. It was just the two of us. And we really didn't talk much about wrestling at all. It was just a lot of other stuff. And the guy goes, I'm going to take you up by this pub that Ringo Starr used to hang out in. Like, it's closed down, so like, we're not going to go in there and drink. Why are you taking us here? And we're just standing there, and this guy comes around the bend, and he goes, Edge, oh my God. And I'm like, now we start talking. He goes, hey, Ringo Starr's childhood home is right down this way. And then, Liverpool, certain areas, it's like row houses, like Queens or Brooklyn. They're all houses, all connected.
Right.
We're like, all right, let's go, take us there. Just a happenstance. And an old lady lived in the house, bought it from Ringo's family, and basically like a museum to him. That's how she has it set up.
Sure.
All these pictures and tells all these stories about him. And we were probably in there for 45 minutes, and we walked out and just looked at each other and went, that was the most ridiculous thing that could ever happen. Like, this guy just brought us. We're like, first we're looking at each other going, why is this guy bringing us to this bar that's closed? We're in Ringo Starr's childhood home. And then, we drove to Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields.
Nice.
And go back to the building. And,
Nice.
it was like one of those days. And then we talked about it after he came back. And I said, I tell everybody that story because we were just, he goes, you know what? That's one of the most fun days I've ever had. We were just two guys spending a day together, hanging out and doing his Beatles stuff. And I did not grow up a Beatles fan. I was a metal fan. I like Beatles. But as you get older,
I was both.
You appreciate their impacts. Like the first
Yeah.
time I ever went to Liverpool to do a show, we went to the Cavern Club.
Yeah.
And there's bands playing, and we're having a pint, and there's the statues, and then you go to the museum, and you go, wow, these guys had an impact on...
Impressions of the Cavern Club, I have to. I'm a Beatles mark and a half.
It was cool. And then I was told by one of my former coworkers that grew up in Liverpool that the actual one was across the street that
Okay.
got bombed, so they made...
Got bombed.
Bombed during
I heard
the war.
Liverpool was
Listen,
rough.
at our
I heard it
age,
was
So
rough.
it was across the street. That wasn't the actual
Cavern Club. Okay.
And we went down, and it was cool. We had a pint. There was a band playing, and
Nice.
I have I bought a Cavern Club shirt. I still have it.
all you
gotta-
all you have is your memories. I mean, I could just imagine you and Edge holding hands,
Oh, here we
walking
go.
down Penny Lane
Here we
together.
go.
That's pretty sweet.
Nah, none
Here
of
we
that.
go.
Little kiss,
No
give him a kiss
holding
on the
hands.
cheek,
No.
little pat on the ass.
Johnny
might have
Photo, please listen.
With that, we're going to take a quick
No.
commercial break. We'll get back to
What's
the star of the
your-
show, WWE's own Johnny Photo.
Listen.
Welcome back to Long Island's number one pro wrestler broadcast, Monte and Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York.
Might not be number one after today.
No, we're having a good time.
Number double one.
People are watching. They want to know someone on the inside who's working with such a wonderful company as
That's
the
right.
WWE.
Oh, come on. We're number one behind
Look,
them.
a lot
That's
of
right.
wrestling fans, again, I don't know. Is the WWE class act to work with?
They treat us great. I don't,
Nice.
It's
Nice.
a lot of hours. But
Sure.
you know that going in. And I myself get treated with respect by people on the crew, the talent, the higher ups we talk with, and I get treated well. I can't complain. I mean, there's sometimes we go, oh my God, I think I'm on hour 20, but
Bro, it's
That's
like
the way it
any
is,
other
man.
job, right?
Oh,
I mean, look, not everybody loves their job all the time, and you're lucky enough to love your job. A lot of people hate their jobs. It's good to have someone on the inside like yourself, because people, they hear these rumors or they get these stories, and look, this is a guy that's going to go on 20 years working for a company. You just doesn't happen like that, right?
everybody, pretty much everyone on our crew was there when I started, and I honestly got every time the Godfather comes back and does something, he says, we come and go. You guys are all still here. You must be treated well. And I said, we are treated well. It's TV. I would imagine if I was the team photographer for the Mets, it's 80 games and all these days, and I love the hockey. I mean, I shot over 100 hockey games a year, weekends, travel. I mean, it was different than this because you're not involved with the players. We'd shoot the game and then go home unless we had to do something specific with team photos or whatever else. But there wasn't any kind of a relationship with Mark Messier. It was just, hey Mark, we'd take these pictures. Goodbye.
You're like a family. I'm telling you, it seems like this family unit.
I tell everyone it's a big dysfunctional family.
It's great.
It's like anywhere
just
else.
like any other family, right?
But everybody knows the job has to get done, and nobody. I've never seen anyone to a point where there was anything that prevented people from working together. And we all get along. We all know each other's families and kids and wives and girlfriends or whoever else and parents. Guys bring their parents to the shows, and you go to England and you meet William Regal's parents because they come to the show. Or
how cool
in
is that?
Australia, and the Iconics, their families come to the shows. Or Buddy Murphy,
But how cool is that they feel comfortable enough to bring their families around you and introduce you to them, right? It's a family. Listen, everybody, next week we have Sunny Beach UWF superstar in studio, and we'll be talking a little Herb Abrams and nice. UWF history again, Dark Side of the Ring. If you caught it, good episode. UWF, Herb Abrams passed away.
I watched that one.
Yeah, that was a.
I think I almost laughed for the entire hour. The only one I haven't watched is New Jack because it seems like it's.
Listen, catch Monte and the Pharaoh. You'll hear all the New Jack stories you want. We've had him twice in the studio.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of guys we've had in the studio, we've had Scott Hall in the past. Any thoughts on working with the legendary Hey-Yo?
Got a good Scott Hall story for us?
With Scotty, maybe?
Well, when you asked if I have marked out when they came back, well, Hogan specifically. So
sure.
When they came back as NWO, we did a photo shoot with them in Stanford, and it was Hogan, and you just sit there as a kid that grew up, and there he is, and he's having a conversation like we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring up Tuesday Night Titans, the show, and he goes, "Oh my God, the stuff that went on when we filmed that show." And we actually did a
Tuesday Night Titans. How great was that?
Was the best.
Holy cow!
When you say that's the stuff I miss. I miss haha. I like to laugh.
Saturday night's
Santino
main event.
was one of my favorites. That guy.
Who? I'm sorry.
Santino. That's why
he's
my favorite. And I mean, I'll give you one quick one. When we do Australia tours, when we did Brisbane, they would always do a Brisbane Cup. So it was a battle royal. Whoever won then had a title shot at the end of the main event. So it's everybody, other than the champ, obviously. And Santino gets thrown out, holds the ropes, pulls himself back in, bows up to Triple H and Cena. It's on YouTube if you search it.
I gotta look.
He goes, walks backwards, grabs his singlet, and throws himself over. Right in front of me. So I'm laughing, taking pictures. As I'm shooting him walking off, like Mike Chioda's on the ring apron with his hand over his face.
Not to lose
doubled over in laughter. And if you search it on YouTube, you'll find it. It's like a fan thing from upstairs. But like that kind of stuff Santino would do. Like what Hurricane. Every time tried to double choke slam in the Royal Rumble with Steve and Hunter. And then they looked at each other and threw him over. And I talk with him. I bring that up to him all because he'll put it on Facebook or Instagram. We're Facebook friends, with Shane and I. And that's another great guy. We went around with the Hurricane in Dayton, Ohio. We went to a comic book store. We did the most ridiculous nonsense with William Regal. People were laughing watching what was going on. And he's such a character. And these guys have a good mind for the business and he knew what to do to get over.
What's up with that? That was his thing. Don't you remember? The Hamburglar. The Rock totally killed Hurricane. I love that stuff.
Rock put him over.
Yeah, he sure did. They were
did.
great together on camera. Oh, my God. Good stuff, Mikey.
Do I have a chance with Mandy Rose?
You please. Oh, my God.
I'm gonna use the line, I refuse to answer on the grounds I may incriminate myself. In short, no.
There you go.
Otis is like, yeah.
Have you had any interaction with Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr.?
Hello. We've spoken a bunch of times about different stuff, going over things, but Say hello. How you doing?
You get nervous being in
First
such
time,
a...
first time he walked in the room.
Yeah, like...
Come on, man. I'm a total mark. I would have been like, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
of course.
Okay.
He's,
Okay.
the boss.
Yeah. Does he
He's
fill up
not
the
a- he's
room
not
when
a
he
shadowy
walks in?
figure that you never see. He's
Yeah.
a workaholic. He's there.
He is.
So he's in your face all the time.
I would
Well,
say
not in your face,
Not in your
but,
face,
you know.
but he's a workaholic, basically.
I've been here a long time, so like
Yeah.
I always say hello to him.
Sure.
If I see him, I go out of my way to say hello.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
Says hello back. Says hello to the guys that sweep the floors. He's not a guy that
There you go.
thinks he's bigger than anybody.
Massive respect
Thanks,
for
everyone.
massive
Look at
respect
that.
for the genius coming
Look
from
at-
this show.
look
That's
at
for- He's a
that.
genius.
Look at that.
I love it. That's what I
told-
want to hear. I believe that.
I
too.
believe it, too.
I believe it too. People sit on their keyboard all day long and rail at the greatest promoter that ever lived. I'm sorry.
All
I
right,
don't
so-
agree.
Hey, growing up, they were playing Northport High School, and then there's 80,000 in a football stadium. I mean, that's all you, as a fan, to look at what it was like when we grew up.
We had matches at Northport High School? Where the hell was I?
You were there.
For Northport High School? I don't think so. I saw
Of
like
course. Ray
Yeah, when I used
Stevens
to
against
work at,
Jimmy Snuka.
When
Northport
I
High
worked
School.
at,
That was
when
at
the
Northport High
Clintons had the
School.
Amico next to McDonald's, I used to pump gas there.
Okay.
Jimmy Snuka pulled in once trying to find Northport High School.
Okay.
He had a Lincoln with his...
What happened? Kliss told you to get back to work?
No, we were like, holy shit, Jimmy Snuka.
What'd he say?
Where the hell's Northport High School?
Brother, where is
We're
Northport
like, go
High
to the
School?
light, turn right, that's Elwood Road, go up. Like, we knew the lights.
Right.
Like 5 or 6
sure.
lights to Northport High School.
Sure. Sure.
Like, I got to take a piss, and like we ran around the back of the station, and then we're all, we had like this leopard skin interior with this. I think it was a purple or silver Lincoln Mark V at Patterson. A bunch of them all used to come in and stop,
Wow.
and then look,
No
we
idea.
went to we used to go to Comac Arena all the time. My dad's
That-
friend owned the building,
Okay.
and we got front row tickets. My brother and I and all our friends went every month.
Saw plenty of matches
And here's
there.
another childhood where I decided I hated a wrestler that was the big baby face. He goes, I'll bring you in the locker room to meet the guys. So we go, okay, well, now he's not paying attention. There's like 30 kids. So we go in the locker room, and now you see like Dominic DeNucci's eating spaghetti, and you're looking around going, and all of a sudden Ivan Putski cursing, get these effing kids out of here. I went, that's it. I'll never like him again.
Well, he doesn't have a very good
I was
rep,
probably
so
12 or 13 years old. I went, that's it. Never
Yeah.
like him again.
yeah.
All right,
Heard some rough
we got
stuff.
about 1 minute. Last
Sure.
question from the Pharaoh to Johnny Photo.
Last question from the Pharaoh. All right. Can you give us some positive vibes for the future of pro wrestling? What do you think's in store for us down the road with pro wrestling on television and in
He might just give
general?
you the standard answer. I'm just a photographer.
What would you like
Look,
to see?
I think there's,
you.
there's a lot of good stuff out there, all across all the other, AEW, all these other places are.
Yeah. Any thoughts on AEW?
Yeah, you know what? I got a lot of respect for Cody Rhodes.
Sure.
Hell of a nice guy. We spent a lot of time traveling around. Good kid. Brother is a great guy. I mean, we had some laughs over the years traveling.
Come across Dusty?
Kid. They used to call me Kid.
There we go.
No, the kid or a young man. I forget what it was. He never. I don't
Young
think he
man.
knew my name.
What's up, young
I would always
man?
say hello to him. Young man or kid. That's a lot of the guys. The old guys. Kid,
Johnny
how you doing,
Photo.
kid? Dusty was he was fun to be around because you have the older guys on. They
Sure.
got great stories from back in the
They
day.
sure do.
Flair, a riot to hang out with.
Were you sad to see the wrestling magazine go? And did you read wrestling magazines like we did when we were kids?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, PWI shut down, didn't they? Did they close
I
up?
think they're online, aren't they?
Are they online only?
I think
now?
they're online
I think
only.
so because one of my old coworkers, I think, is writing for them.
As recently as 2 years ago, I was still getting them in the mail.
Well, they use a lot
What?
of our. They
Yeah,
use a
you
lot of
heard
our
me.
photos.
I still had a
PW
subscription
What
to
a nerd.
PWI.
PWI
Yeah,
they use a lot of our photos. We work with them. They use a
Yeah.
lot of our photos.
Yeah.
I've shot specific covers for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Wrestler of the Year, I think is what we always. I think like a year or two ago was Becky. When they made it the Woman of the Year. Did one with Charlotte and Sasha back to back. That was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Johnny Photo's all-time favorite wrestler as we close out.
All time.
All time, man.
All time, man.
Funny because it's the younger kids or even some of the younger wrestlers ask.
Okay.
When I tell them, we say my age, and I grew up watching wrestling, and my favorite all time. It's tough. I mean, I was a huge Bruno fan growing up. I mean, who wasn't?
Interesting.
Favorite. I mean, everybody. The Hogan was up there. Some of the characters. Look, Steve Austin might just. He was another one. I mean, those would be my
Okay.
top 3. And like Rick, we grew up, we didn't see NWA.
Right.
And I even said to Rick after his book came out, I said, dude, I didn't even know you and Ricky Steamboat had these Iron Man matches every night because that wasn't on TV in New York.
Right.
There was
And he
only
said,
2,000
we
people
went all
watching
across
that
the
anyway.
country.
So.
He goes, Ricky and I, 60 minutes.
Yeah, with 2,000 people watching.
But two.
Ask me who my favorite wrestler is. Just ask me.
All right, who's your favorite wrestler, Monty?
Ivan Putski.
You're.
I tell you what, any celebrity that comes to our show and you ask them, to me, they're a real wrestling fan. If they don't give you the standard response. Hugh Jackman said King Kong Bundy. That's, to me, that's a true wrestling fan. Because
Right.
the standard responses, Randy Macho Man,
Right.
Hulk Hogan,
Greg Valentine.
Greg was a great heel.
Greg Valentine.
Back then, there was so many characters. Right. Sidney Crosby, we met him in Pittsburgh. He's a big wrestling fan, and we're talking. Who's your favorite? King Kong Bundy. And I said to him, "You're a true wrestling fan,
Right?
Not a guy that may or may not watch it." I loved Hulkamania.
King Kong Bundy ruined his childhood.
I like Bastion
Five
Booger.
count. Bastion Booger.
He was one of my favorites.
Bastion. Oh.
Anyway, we want to thank Johnny Photo for coming in. You've been watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh. Monte the Pharaoh can be seen on YouTube, Facebook Live, on the Monte the Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. You're going to get the reduced video of Johnny Photo. You're on cable this week, my friend.
I am.
And then you're going to see you on Saturday at 6 a.m. till 6:30 a.m.
Nice.
Do you get up that early, John?
No.
At our age, we always wake up early. Do we actually get out of bed? No, I'm awake.
I'm usually up and rolling. Get my weekly fix of Monte and the Pharaoh.
There you go.
I want to thank Johnny Photo for coming in. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for teaching these pro wrestling expert what real wrestling is about. This is Mike Monte.
This is the Pharaoh. Until next week
pleasure.
with UWF superstar Sonny Beach. Later.
When I found out, I was checking out of the hotel. We were going to the arena in Minneapolis. We were taping Raw and SmackDown, and we were flying that night, and we were dropping the Raw guys